Today in the crypto space, we're seeing the market taking a further dip to the downside. We have Bitcoin hovering around that $57,000 mark, down approximately 2%. Ethereum also down approximately 2%, however, still around that $3,000 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are a mix of green and red, of course. Solana coming down, ICP, Pepe, and a few others. And today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project that is dipping down to good levels of horizontal support, and that project is called Arweave. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learn material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the top 100 real quick. We'll kind of scrape through it. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, and then we'll take a look at Arweave. Of course, we're going to be using Bitcoin as a leading indicator. If Bitcoin continues to show us negativity, obviously we also have to expect negativity for the altcoin market. We see that the total market cap is kind of hesitant right here. It's down a bit of a sell-off, while we have trading volumes still maintain a sideways type of scenario where we have no volume, very little volume here, kind of going sideways. So not a good look. Obviously, we want to see a bit of volume into a nice move to the upside, where we see the market cap rise and we see a lot of market participation rise, and that would give us an indication that capital is flowing in, and we're having a healthy amount of trading volume. At the current moment, it's nothing really there, unfortunately. Bitcoin kind of doing its thing here, rolling over a little bit. It looks like a good confirmation high, lower high here on this small fractal. After that, we're getting a bit of follow through. Do we come up for another lower high and then capitulate and then roll over even a bit further? Guys, Bitcoin is not looking the greatest, 2.4% to the downside. Ethereum down 2.6. Ethereum still looking as tad more bullish than Bitcoin. However, as it is a smaller cap, we have to understand the volatility is going to definitely be there, especially when Bitcoin does decide to come down. Just understand that we're waiting to get more confirmations from a Bitcoin bottom, and this is where it's at. The daily takes its time. The daily has a few dips, a few rallies, and as soon as we can break a particular range and break character of a particular structure, then it starts to give us that indication that yes, maybe we're looking for that run to the upside or that pivot point. Ultimately, what we're looking for is a pivot point from a bearish stance to a bullish stance, and on the daily time frame, it does take time to actually occur, right? So we got to be very, very patient here. And as this is occurring, as we are waiting for this to happen, as I've been mentioning for the last couple of days, guys, don't feel the need to always be trading, because really what happens in those pivot points is a lot of liquidity gets grabbed up from the market. You know, there's hunts down at those levels where people get wrecked. So sometimes this chop zone, sometimes the sideways price action into a structure could, you know, be a place where you don't trade and look for other opportunities in the crypto space to, you know, gain some value, do deep dive research, get ready and prepared for the next move. Let's continue going down here. We do see XRP waking up, which is not bad, 4.2% to the upside, while the rest of the market is kind of dippish and, you know, kind of going sideways. We have Dogecoin coming down 3.6%. And as we keep on going down, we can see some of the altcoins, either they're going sideways still or getting, you know, a slow bleed to the downside. Polkadot 5%, we have Sheep 5%, and as we keep on going down, you can see that the fractals here are, you know, pretty similar. They're, you know, kind of deviating a little bit from one another. They're a bit similar. We have Litecoin looking pretty good, although it is down 0.5%. It's not the point. The point is to look at the overall trajectory of the price action. You know, it's looking pretty good. It's slow grind to the upside. And Monero, the same thing, slow grind to the upside. So it's pretty good, given that that we're seeing some altcoins do okay. However, we got to be real with it. There's nothing major into all of this. You can see that either it's going sideways with regards to price action, or we are basically dipping. Look at Pepe down 10%. That's a pretty big dip. We're talking about a double-digit dip. And then you'll have Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance, the FET, and all of a sudden it's coming down 8.5%. That is, a pretty good dip. I would be waiting to see how low that one goes. XLM waking up pretty nicely, 2.2%. But what I'm really concerned about, not concerned, but interested in, is the previous high. It's breaking the previous high. So we're continuation to the upside, a break of a structure, which is good. Higher highs and higher lows, and maintaining that trajectory is what we're looking for at the current moment. But as the rest of the market is not giving us that signal, can we rely on some random anomalies that are doing well? I wouldn't. For example, look at Render, down 10.5% today. Guys, if you watched my live stream yesterday, I was very clear about Render and not buying the top on Render. Render hit a great area of price action that should be considered profit-taking zone, the 1.27 extension. And that's why I mentioned yesterday, guys, I wouldn't become exit liquidity. I wouldn't be getting to Render at that moment yesterday. But now that we're taking a bit of a dip, things kind of change. We're down up almost 11% for the day, which is not bad of a dip. Now we have to look for horizontals and see, does Render have the possibility to catch one of those bottoms, those horizontal levels, and maybe get some support. We also have stacks rolling over based on the Bitcoin narrative. We see Bitcoin rolling over. Stacks will also be rolling over. So I'm happy that we were able to stay one step ahead on both these projects as they are dipping down, being able to get defensive when it's very necessary to defend gains. As we keep on coming down, guys, let's keep on going. We do see IMX kind of going sideways, and we see Dog with Fat grinding to the downside, slow bleed to the downside. But this is the way it is, guys. Arweave. Today, I want to talk about Arweave because Arweave is at a critical level. It is down 10%. And if we roll back time about a month or two ago, many people were talking about Arweave. Arweave was one of the strongest projects in the short distant time, right? Short distant time, and we know that at the end of the day, when we do see that the market come down, people start looking the other way. They don't take them serious. They don't take these projects seriously anymore because obviously the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But really what's happening here is that we see that Arweave is at a critical level after retracing significantly. So what you have to ask yourself is, what happened with regards to tech? Why is all of a sudden Arweave looking so bearish and the overall sentiment so bearish? So of course we'll take a look at charts and see if we should be scaling in. Ondo is also coming down approximately 10%, part of the real world asset narrative, 10%, Floki another 10%. So you can see some of these altcoins are in double-digit dips, right? Brett, another 12%, guys, for Brett. Pith, 10%. So there's a lot of double-digit dips. The question is, should you be buying in right now? Now, one thing that you also have to consider is that this dip today, pretty much, this price action that we're seeing here, really is just a continuation from a bigger dip that we've already had. So really, a lot of these projects should be testing their previous lows, not making lower lows as at the current moment, but nonetheless, coming down to that level that's pretty close. Now, what we have to understand, if we start breaking lower lows, it's not a good look for the overall market. But if we are coming down to at least to the previous lows and make a double bottom, a higher low, we're still okay here. We're still okay. And we have to be waiting for structure, for the market to build us some structure. Look at Akash, another 10%er down double digits. And as we go down, we see a lot of double digit dips. Starknet, another one, double digit dips everywhere. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. So let's begin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. What's going on here with Bitcoin? Ultimately, Bitcoin not doing much. Guys, the chop zone is ruthless. Just keep in mind that when you see Bitcoin going sideways like this, or any project for that matter, any price action going sideways, it is a viable opportunity to say, you know what, I'm just going to hang back, relax, and figure this market out, do some research, invest in myself, and that way you can let the market resolve itself and then eventually get into a position with a bit more conviction. At this current moment, we don't know where Bitcoin is going because there is a trend, but ultimately it is a great area to see a bit of a reversal, to see the market recover here in preparation for September. What I mean by that is that we could be going sideways for the next little while, similar to what happened here, going sideways producing a structure suggesting a pivot in preparation for September. And I think that might be a viable scenario. In the meantime, until I get confirmations of a reversal, there's no real need, there's no real sense of urgency to get into risky positions here, guys. Risk is public enemy number one for a trader. And if you can come up with a great risk to reward ratio opportunity, great, awesome. Low time frames, 15-minute chart, maybe even the 1-minute chart, whatever time frame you're interested in, but make sure you get in and you'll get out based on that setup on that time frame, because the daily's still not giving us any good confirmations of a reversal. In fact, what we are getting is still potential lower lows and lower highs. We got to be real what happened here, right? Because we made a lower low down here, and within this local price action, we're still making lower lows and lower highs. We made a lower high in comparison to this. We made, a lower high here and a lower low right here. So we're definitely making a, basically pivoting to the downside here, getting a bit of relief on bearish divergences that happen right into this level. The question is, how deep could we go? And I still say, wait for structure. You don't have to rush into this. Guys, on the daily time frame, do not rush. Wait to build your positions, because positions built on the daily could definitely be positions that could be held for the rest of the bull run, to see the actual rally, the euphoric price action in this market. And in that case, we could be buying the dips at a little bit lower levels, maybe about 52, guys. I'm hoping 52. We could get that level hit. In that worst case scenario, about 44. I like the 44 level because there's a lot of weakness below that could suggest the price falling to that zone. You can see we have a node of volume right in here, so I'm waiting for 44. Ultimately, guys, there's no real sense of urgency. I am not, changing my stance. I'm still in the bearish stance until proven otherwise. And at this current moment, we do see the volatility and momentum kind of oversold. There is signs of bullish divergence, so I have to be clear about that. There is signs of bullish divergence, which is nice. It's a good indication. Higher lows on the momentum. You can see these lows are going upwards, and so are the expansions. Pretty good, while the price action is still coming down. And that for me is a good indication that the market could be looking for a bullish response, or that the bears in fact are looking a bit weaker than expected. Now, the trend EMA cross, maybe, or fake out. We'll have to see. We got to close the daily candle in a bullish way, right? We need a green histogram bar. We need an EMA cross. We thought that it was going to happen yesterday with the daily candle close, but it didn't happen. So we got to be patient and wait for it to happen. Because if you don't, it could fake us out, it could open up again and come down for another dip and hit that 52. So basically what I'm saying here is that there is still risk associated to getting into an entry right now. And with that being said, if you feel like this is a great buy opportunity, just DCA with small bags, 10%, 20. And as it comes down, double down to another 20%, 30%. And if it comes down further, 50%. And until you build up of a total of 100% of what you're willing to deploy into Bitcoin, or into any project for that matter, then you should be DCAing and coming up with a plan to DCA and at those horizontal levels. Okay, so this is what we're looking for, is accumulation over time. And of course, now's the time to also think about raising capital to build your positions. Without capital, we cannot buy the dips, and without dips, there's no opportunity. And as we do come down to get those dips, we should be taking advantage of those opportunities. All right, let's take a look at Arweave. What's going on here with Arweave? Much more interesting scenario here, because we did not necessarily make a lower low, slightly lower. Okay, I'll give it that, slightly lower, very, very slight. And now what's interesting to me is that even on this bearish response, we are testing that horizontal support once again. I am afraid that we could fall through this volume gap and come down to about $16.50, or to be more accurate, $16.75. Bottom of the volume gap. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Let me get rid of the oscillators. Let's focus on price action here for a second. You can see that there's a bit of volume down here, lots of market participation. Let's zoom out. This was an area where a lot of people took risk, and everybody that got into a risky positions right around this level deserve a bit of reward. Obviously, that's the way the market works. If you take a lot of risk based on fundamentals, you waited patiently for confirmations, for a nice sideways accumulation, after a bit of a dip, a sweep, come up, and then you put a stop loss in, you take your chances right into this volume, and then all of a sudden pop to the upside. This is a level of which everybody or anybody that got into this level should be taking profits at the $47 level, $48 level. And this level was definitely identified very, very early here on the channel that this was a profit-taking zone. And we happened to snipe the exit very, very accurately. And before that, keep in mind, we talked about buying the dip here, obviously, and we are obviously accumulating at the bottom of the range. Guys, we've been talking about Arweave for a very, very long time. And then all of a sudden, look what happens, guys. We get this type of corrective measure. Right now, the question is the correction done? Do we actually fall through the volume gap and start hitting this liquidity? This liquidity right here has great entries, and they thought they had great entries, but you can see the volume increases significantly. And we have to understand that also, this is where we can hunt that liquidity and get some of these people to sell on a loss, or even sell at break even, or whatever the case may be. At least we understand that as the price comes down here, we will be testing their weak hands. If they do have weak hands, they will be selling to the market. And then there's people that are bullish that will be buying into this sell pressure. And of course, you have to decide which kind of individual are you going to be. Are you going to be the one that just watches the price action come down without buying the dip into the sell pressure, especially as we come down lower into this volume? Guys, I don't think this volume is going to get completely tested, to be honest. This would be a liquidity hunt like no other. For Arweave, we have the point of control here. We got a lot of volume in here. So what I'm saying is that it's very likely that we fall through the volume gap, right? I understand that the risk to reward is very healthy here as well at about $22, because if we don't fall through the volume gap, we're going to use this as horizontal support, given that we got a little bit of a bounce here, we got a little bit of a bounce here, and it's not a bad zone to ultimately take a bit of risk. I get it, but what if we fall through the volume gap and come down a little bit more? Obviously, DCA helps with this scenario because no one knows exactly where the pivot's going to be. The only thing that I can say based on price action is that we're still making lower lows and lower highs, which leads me to believe that we have to respect the trend. And if we do figure that this is a lower low, just imagine that really what we did is we made a lower low between this low. If we do get a bit of relief and make a lower high as a confirmation high, we can come down and make a lower low and eventually come down to about 16 and a quarter, which leads me to believe that we do have opportunities at the bottom of the range still, and we should be prepared with our capital to buy the dip at these levels. Again, about 16 and a quarter, and then obviously watching to see what kind of liquidity gets hunted at this level, because we can be buying and accumulating into the sell pressure as the price comes down. Let's look at the momentum. Momentum is quite interesting as well. Very similar to what's happening here with Bitcoin. We see the price action coming down for that lower low, and we do see that the momentum is making higher lows, which is really, really good. Lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum. And if you look at the expansion waves, let's kind of remove this for a second. You see the red expansions in the background, they're making higher lows as well. And if you look at the volatility, also making higher lows, which gives us three indications on this momentum oscillator. The multi-momentum oscillator is suggesting that we are getting three different confluent divergences to the upside, bullish divergences on momentum, which is very, very healthy, right? So that's exactly what we're looking for here. Now, if you look at the trend oscillator is not bad either. We're getting a bit of divergence as well. We see the histogram bars slowly tapering to the upside while we get the price action coming down. But more importantly, look at these expansion waves. The expansion waves, we got a smaller one right into here, a really big one right into here. So we're making a trend to the upside while the price is moving down. Another class A bullish divergence. And what I'm noticing, guys, it's not just Arweave that is doing such divergences on these oscillators. We're getting it across the market. Last night live on the live stream, we've talked about so many projects that are already showing signs of weakness for the bears. And what's important is as we get closer to horizontal supports, very strong horizontal supports, that is the time where we're going to expect that the bears not having as much strength will eventually tire out and the bulls will start taking the ball in their court. So what I'm saying here is that now is not a bad time, guys. Let's move this green arrow. Now is not a bad time to DCA. Down at the bottom of the volume gap is not a bad time to also prepare a bit of capital. And then what I would be waiting for is ultimately what happens at this liquidity level where all this volume's at. If we get a bit of a structure, I would be interested. And obviously this is not a bad area too. This would be a liquidity hunt like no other. This area right here at about $10.50 $1.58. Let's make it a little bit more accurate, about $11. Okay, let's make it $11, nice and round number, and then we can kind of put another green arrow just to say, like, guys, look at all the volume right into here. So what we should be doing now is waiting for a change of character. Number one. Number two, we should be understanding we can get three drives of bearish divergence. We can come down for another lower low and still maintain the class A bullish divergence by maintaining a higher low scenario on the oscillators. And that's where a lot of people get wrecked. And to be honest, that is how we get descending wedges. Okay, not to say that we have to get one, but it could be possible that we get some sort of descending wedge. Now, what's interesting about the descending wedge is that we have a good diagonal to track. We have previous price action that we know we need to break above, so we change the character of the structure. Change of character is very important. So we maybe come down, maybe go back up, we make a higher high based on this low high, and then we come down, make a higher low, and then we come back up and we break above this high, and then we start seeing that what we're really doing is making higher highs and higher lows, especially after some follow through right here, breaking above this high and then coming down, making a higher low and then making a higher high. And then we start thinking, you know what, maybe this is the pivot point that we're waiting for to confirm all the back tests and confirmations and all the good stuff that we need here in order to get really, really bullish just based on price action. Now, we do know fundamentals are great on Arweave. We know decentralized storage and all of that. A deep pin narrative is very hot narrative and it should do very well, but we can't deny that there's opportunity right here. Look at the empty volume gap. Look at this straight up price action right into here, and that is leaving an empty space for the price to fall right through. So this is where it's concerning me. You know, if this area could be the level of which we produce the structure for a continuation to the upside. And what's good about structure is you can put a stop loss below it and anticipate a continuation up. So I'll be watching what happens here. Obviously, I'll keep you guys posted as to what could be happening here with the price action, because obviously we want to try to stay one step ahead here. And ultimately, guys, join the live stream. Live streams tonight at 7:30 Eastern. This is where we talk about crypto news and price action. So if you have any projects for me to cover, that is a great time and place to make those requests. And if I offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.